Hi, I'm Moon Cha Cha, and welcome to the Moon Cha Cha Chronicles. Remember how earlier this year we went to the Cotswolds? And when we got back to London, we realised we'd been fined for not paying the congestion charge that we weren't aware of. Do you know what else happened when we got back to London? I got food poisoning and ended up staying in London a few more days longer than expected. Luckily, I was staying at Premier Inn at the time, so I could extend the stay for a few more nights and it wasn't too expensive. This is the bathroom. As you can see, it's quite compact, but all very modern and clean. This is the bedroom section of the room. It's a queen-size bed, and next to the bed is the electrical socket, aircon controls and light controls. Hub by Premier Inn have two classes of room. One is a standard room, and there's also a bigger room. This is considered a bigger room, but it's actually quite small compared to standard hotel rooms. The window is sealed, so it can't be opened. There's a flat screen TV, and behind the mirror is a small area for hanging up clothes. A hairdryer, and that's about it. When I was feeling a bit better, it was time for some gentle activities. Regent's Park is not too far from the hotel, so I went there for a little walk. Let's look for a nice place to sit. Have a little rest. What? You have to pay? How much? Nah, let's keep walking. After Regent's Park, I went to my favourite place, the supermarket. There are some interesting differences between supermarkets in the UK and Australia. These spring onions? Chopped off. And how much are a bunch of these beheaded spring onions? Let's have a look. £1. It seems beheading is quite common. It makes it easier to store things in the fridge, doesn't it? So look at these celery hearts. See? Beheaded. And what about the whole celery? That's also beheaded too. And some products have different names. For example, the wonabak or wombak is called Chinese leaf. And the snow peas, they're called manjitu. How do you pronounce that? Manjitu? The other thing that's different is the broccolini, and that's called tender stem broccoli. Very descriptive. And now I'm in the milk section. This is where the metric and imperial worlds collide. Here you can get 4 pints of milk for £1.55. Or you can get 2 litres of milk for £3.10. Or 1 litre of this very special finest Jersey whole milk for £2.15. The night before I left, my friend gave me 2 packets of these Liberty Fat Quarters. I have to admit that not so long ago I thought these were extremely expensive remnants, but in fact it's actually quite the opposite. Liberty fabrics are very famous and also very expensive. These fabrics are deliberately cut into small pieces called fat quarters and often sold as colour coordinated bundles for the convenience of patchworkers and quilters. My friend knew I liked doing these time-wasting activities, for example making YouTube videos that no one watches. I thought it would be quite fun to turn those Liberty fabrics into 2 quilts for Christmas. The first quilt I'm making is a disappearing 9-patch quilt. After sewing the 9 patches together, you get something like this. Oh, I think I made a mistake. Time for unpicking. It's called a disappearing 9-patch because as soon as you sew the 9 patches together, you then proceed to cut it apart. This 9-patch block has been cut into quarters. You then can just rotate the quarters around to create a different pattern. Not quite right. Let's start again. Let's think about this. What if I turn it around like this? Maybe turn this one around? Maybe this one as well? And this one. How about that? Satisfied? Yep, satisfied. So after sewing it back together again, it becomes this. And putting together the blocks gives this pattern. I've just added a white border and a pattern border for the front, and this is the back of the quilt. Now it's time to tack the 3 layers of the quilt together with some assistance from my little helper. All that helping is very tiring work. Time for a rest. Maybe a little shower first. Ugh. Now I'm hand quilting the layers of the quilt together. After I finish that, I sew on the binding. Okay, so now the quilt is done. This is the front. And this is the back. This is the second quilt that I'm making. This pattern is called Irish Chain and it's made from alternating 9-patch blocks and plain blocks. But before I start, the little helper has to inspect the sewing machine first. Make sure everything's in good working order. Little helper says, "You may proceed, but I must sit here and supervise you to make sure you do things properly." The back of the quilt was a bit too plain, so I tried doing some embroidery by following YouTube. This is the first time I've done embroidery, and it turned out looking like balls of tangled string glued onto the back of the quilt. After finishing that, I quilted the layers of the quilt together. Next, I attached the binding. So this is the finished quilt. Around the quilt there is a thin white border and then a thicker checked border. And this is the back. It's still quite plain looking. I was hoping to put some sort of decoration in the middle, but ran out of time because I had to get to the post office and post it before the Christmas cut-off. And now all that's left to do is to package up the quilts and send them to England. Let's see if I can improve second time round. Not a great deal of improvement. Now it's all nice and pretty in wrapping paper, and for the final decorative flourish, pop it in a rubbish bag. And off to the post office. Now the quilts are on their way to England. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching the Mon Chow Chow Chronicles. See you next time.